for Local Government, Housing and Community Development, the Honourable Premila Kumar, to deliver her statement. You have the floor, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for the opportunity to take the floor to provide an update on the impact of the business license reform that came into effect on 1st January 2020. Together with the Ministry of Commerce, Industry, Trade and Tourism, the Ministry of Local Government introduced these reforms with the goal of significantly streamlining business licensing in Fiji. By doing so, we aimed not only to increase Fiji's standing in the World Bank's ease of doing business ranking, but bring real and meaningful change that would help encourage new entrepreneurs and formalize existing ones. We are aggressively pursuing a more streamlined, business-friendly climate here in Fiji, and by doing so, we are encouraging more Fijians to become entrepreneurs, attracting more foreign business people to invest in our country, and in effect, cultivating more economic growth. Amid the economic uncertainty of COVID-19, I think we can all agree these steps to streamline Fijian businesses are more crucial than ever, particularly when we are encouraging Fijians to be a job creator. Mr. Speaker, sir, previously, a number of challenges faced Fijian businesses, challenges that these reforms have tackled head-on. Firstly, we prioritize standardization. Previously, the processes in place around the country differed with different requirements and timelines. Now our reforms have established a single standard process to be used all throughout Fiji. Thanks to this newfound standardization, any Fijian who wishes to obtain a business license can now expect a decision within 48 hours of lodging the application. Secondly, we realigned the approval process. Previously, it took some time to obtain all the necessary clearances from several regulatory authorities before a business license was issued. Understandably, this could prove frustrating or even discouraging for entrepreneurs and investors. Adding to the confusion, municipalities were held accountable for any delays, even those that were out of their control. Now, under the new system, a business license is issued to low-risk businesses that can start business and then have 6 months to ensure full legal compliance. This means that individual regulatory authority will be directly accountable for the service turnaround time, adding efficiency and accountability across both government and the private sector. For example, any new low-risk business operating from a premises which is already OHS and fire compliant need not obtain compliance certification again. That saves time and money, Mr. Speaker, sir. Similarly, business renewals, if the businesses want to renew their business license and in fact the nature of the business or premises have not changed, again, they don't have to obtain the compliance certificates from the various approving agencies. Finally, we shed unnecessary paperwork. Previously, the costs of excessive documentation for a business license may have proven prohibitive to Fijians who were interested in starting a small business from home. Now, our reforms have reduced the necessary documentation. In doing so, we have recognized the value and importance of facilitating small, home-based businesses that can operate safely without the undue burden of excessive documentation. Mr. Speaker, sir, in addition to addressing these challenges, we put a particular focus on reforming our business licensing regulations and processes. Knowing very well, Mr. Speaker, sir, that complex licensing procedures discourages individuals to turn a great business idea into a reality. Rolling out on 1st January 2020, these changes to business licensing were substantial. Number one, business license applicants need to only complete a simple application form and submit 2 documents business name registration and tax registration. Number 2, business license are now issued within 48 hours, or advice will be received if document is missing. Number 3, businesses can get up to 3 years renewal. Number 4, startups and micro enterprises with up to 3 employees are exempt from the business licensing fee for the first year of operation. Number 5, micro enterprises with 1 to 3 employees are given a 50% discount when renewing their business licenses. Number 6, home-based businesses are now recognized under the regulation and can operate subject to certain conditions. Number 7, low-risk businesses are given the green light to start far more quickly, while those businesses classified as high risk, these are food handling, use of chemicals, or manufacturing businesses, they cannot start operations until they comply with all the relevant regulatory requirements, so as to ensure the health and safety of all Fijians. Of course, efforts are in place to improve coordination among government agencies to facilitate compliance. Mr. Speaker, sir, considering the various flaws in the previous practices, the new processes is more than a modernized approach. It is a step into the future. Fiji now reflects some of the changes which have taken place globally in highly developed countries. The new licensing system is faster, simpler, and allows any type of business of any size to apply for a license to operate in a way that vastly improves the ease and cost of starting a business in Fiji. These benefits are being felt across Fiji. Municipal councils are directly issuing licenses to businesses within their respective town boundaries. Businesses are actively taking advantage of the 48-hour business application processing period to register new businesses and renew existing ones. Small businesses that have less than 3 employees are reaping the benefits, with business houses now paying 50% less in business license fee for renewing their businesses, and new businesses are exempt from paying any fee at all. Mr. Speaker, sir, reforming business licensing is a starting point for improving the investment climate. We've already seen real results from these reforms, with more business licenses issued in the first 3 months of 2020 than over the same period last year. There were a total of 15,069 business licenses issued from 1st January to 31st March 2020, compared to 14,121 business licenses issued over the same period in 2019. This illustrates an increase of 948 business licenses issued and shows that our new business licensing reforms, spearheaded by the Ministry of Local Government and Municipal Councils, have received a warm reception among Fijian businessmen and businesswomen. There's also a significant increase in the number of new businesses registered in 2020 compared to the same period in 2019. Municipal councils have been receiving extremely positive feedback from the communities and business people on the changes in the business licensing, and we hope that we continue to build on this momentum when word of mouth spreads. And I also want to share with you, Mr. Speaker, sir, that early this year we had the Australian Fiji Business Council meeting, and during that forum we took feedback from the business people. How did they find the reforms and what changes needs to be made? And they gave us some very positive feedback, and of course some suggestions in terms of our second round of reforms that we intend to undertake. Mr. Speaker, sir, now that it is quick and easy to obtain a business license, Fiji has immediately become a much more attractive and welcoming place for aspiring business people. For Fijians, these changes mean that there is very little hindrance from having a go at being business people and tapping into their true potential. Many small businesses can be launched from home with a very low startup costs, and we can truly feel the excitement about what this will mean for people all over the country. Despite all this good news, Mr. Speaker, sir, it is clear that we must prepare for a very different picture for the remainder of 2020. With COVID-19 taking devastating toll on the global economy, Fijian businesses are already feeling the impacts. Mr. Speaker, sir, the COVID-19 pandemic has obviously had an adverse effect on Fijian businesses, with some already being forced to close due to the ongoing economic fallout. Physical checks were made by the councils in their respective municipalities to comprehend the nature and number of businesses in the CBD area that were closed down due to the pandemic. The on-the-ground survey carried out by the municipal council showed that the economic impact of COVID-19 is evident throughout our municipalities. 25 businesses in Suva, 14 businesses in Nosori, 16 businesses in Lambasa, 7 businesses in Lotoka, and 4 businesses in Nendi have closed down due to COVID-19 to date. And I must emphasize, this was simply checking the shops, whether the shops were empty, fit-outs were taken off, and we found that these shops were closed. A more detailed study is being undertaken by municipal councils by looking at the business license they had issued. The council's damage assessment showed that most of the businesses closed are restaurants and liquor shops. This is simply because most of these businesses relied on the disposable income of Fijians and, of course, the tourism industry, which is in coma due to the COVID-19 crisis. The economic hit delivered by the virus has been severe for both Fiji and the world. Meanwhile, we can find promise in the fact that there were such strong indications that our efforts to streamline business in Fiji were already yielding results before this unfortunate turn of events. Mr. Speaker, sir, we can all take comfort in knowing that thanks to our licensing reforms, more Fijians than ever have access to the dream of business ownership. Wherever possible, I encourage Fijians to take advantage of this enhanced ease of doing business now, finding opportunity in these trying times. The fact that it is now so easy to start a business means that many more people will be able to take that plunge. Knowing that the first step is so often the hardest, we have eased that burden as much as possible. Mr. Speaker, sir, the special consideration to home-based businesses will be especially helpful to vulnerable groups, including older people, single mothers, and people with disabilities. Now, the most substantial barrier is psychological. So I ask Fijians directly, think big, find opportunity in hardship, and consider entrepreneurship. Mr. Speaker, sir, despite this virus, we expect that Fiji's reputation as a destination for investors and business people will continue to improve, and that the business license reform will strengthen Fiji's status as the hub of the Pacific. With that immense potential in our future, I look forward to the day that Fijian businesses return to prosperity and make our towns and cities vibrant again. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for allowing me to take the floor.
I thank the Honourable Minister for her ministerial statement, and I give the floor to the Honourable Biman Prasad. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank the Honourable Minister for her very detailed and the kind of ministerial statements that we should hear. So I